What is going on, everyone? My name is Drew Spencer with the React and Attack Football Podcast, where we try and go over NFL content from all 32 teams every single day. And boy, oh boy, there's always something going on in the NFL world. And if you like what you hear, make sure to like and subscribe. And let's go. Oh boy, let's get into this. As the Niners yesterday dropped a game to the Jacksonville Jaguars 26-21 in a very sloppy game from Kyle Shanahan in this offense. I mean, there's no other way around it. Let's start right from the get-go here. The first guy we're going to discuss is Brock Purdy because he was definitely polarizing. Coming back from injury and then getting him into the swing of things again against a team that, and looking at overall, right? Jacksonville, probably not the easiest game, but at the same time, a winnable game for this Niners team that has battled through so much adversity. And we're hoping, going in that game, okay, we're getting Brock Purdy back. He should be able to move the ball a bit better than Mac Jones, and let's get this going. And I'll say this first: uh, Brock's game, I don't think had anything to do with lingering issues from injury, which is great news in my mind. I know that might not be what people want to hear, and maybe we'll be like, "Oh, trying to make excuses." Brock wasn't good today. I mean, he was at moments. Like again, like I said, it wasn't the injury because his mobility was there. I mean, he was breaking out of sacks. He was still able to do what he does best. But the one of the picks was batted, bobbled out of the hands of Christian McCaffrey, and the other one was kind of tipped, but still a really weird design throw. Like everything about that play on the second interception. Yes, it was tipped at the line, but it was a bad throw to begin with to the middle of the field, just running a simple, dig route with a drag underneath. Another guy, like a dagger. And it's just, I see this in motion, and I'm not the biggest football savant, when it comes to every play to play basis. I try to be. There's so much to learn. Um, that being said, this is just in this situation, it's just calling this such a routine, kind of simple play. And here I am thinking Kyle Shanahan can get some more grooveness going with this play calling. And outside of the little pitch and catch to Christian McCaffrey that took even more yards up the field, which was pretty fun to see it all unfold, it just really wasn't working. And I think a lot of it is due to the fact that this offensive line just isn't holding up on their end. Um, the run game has been really bad, like all around. Like it's gotten by at certain times because Christian McCaffrey will take a hole that closes up quickly and then somehow fight for extra yards and fall forward. I was talking about this last week too. It almost seems that this guy, it's great we have him on the team. We're churning him completely out, with all these yards and all these receptions he's getting. And I like to see it, but again, the blocking up front's not doing any favors for him. I mean, it's become systemic essentially. Uh, systemic in the approach to for Kyle Shanahan and his philosophy about the offensive line. And now we're kind of seeing it all come into head this year. Yes, the offensive line might be a little banged up, but excusing all of that, it's just not working. It really isn't. Trent Williams is declining, which is weird to say considering he's been so good. He is still really good, but we're so used to seeing this elite, stalwart, tackle on that side. He hasn't really been that much this year. I will say Colton McKivitz has looked a little bit better in pass blocking, and he should be a reliable run blocker. But we're missing that aspect, at least last game against the Jags front seven. And yeah, they have some guys for sure on that D line. That make you like, oh, for sure, this is easier said than done matchup. But just to get absolutely pummeled on all facets of the run game, the pass game, it's not surprising to me that Brock Purdy is holding onto the ball and trying to play hero ball all the time. He he's he still gets the ball out quickly. Like, I'm not trying to, crap on him or anything, but these tendencies are things that he's developed more recently in the past, I'd say season and a half, like going into this year, like the prior few games when guys were dropping like flies, when Trent Williams was no longer there, and really depending on these offensive linemen that were just not as good. And as much as Purdy will stay in the pocket and try and buy time and step up and deliver, I still feel he's feeling phantom pressure because he's quickly rolling out, because he, at the end of the day, doesn't really, he wants to trust the offensive line, but it's not doing its job to hold up their end of the bargain, essentially, on that end. So, again, it's a team sport. Brock Purdy definitely didn't play his best. There was some aspects to his game that was still good. Same with the offensive line. There were some plays that were poetry in motion when things got going, but overall, when this offensive line and the run game can't get going, this Kyle Shanahan team, just his scheme just kind of goes out the wayside. And we're not really built with this offensive line to get into these positions, to step back and drop back and throw a ton. And yes, it's crazy because it's like, well, why are we paying Brock Purdy 50 million then? It's like, well, Brock Purdy, yes, he's a franchise guy. Everyone should be, oh, he should be the biggest elevator of the team. Dude, when he's running for his life every damn play and he just got injured and he came back, and again, I'm not making excuses about it because he looks healthy. Um, it just goes to show we continue this we continue down this line for the rest of the year where we're just throwing in the scrap heaps in front to protect them and hoping, because it's just not working. I don't know if I'm not sure what you can do. It's not like you can easily go out and trade for an offensive lineman, at least a starting caliber one. I'm not even sure what you can do. It's just the you know the overall core fundamental of us just not continuously drafting in this position in the trenches on both sides of the ball has come back to bite us. There's really no way around it. Now, again, this is one loss. I'm not doom and glooming. I'm not giving up on this season whatsoever, but I hate sounding like a broken record and, pounding or trashing on this offensive line when, again, I know there's a lot to this, and I'm not trying to say completely on them. It's a team sport. The defense didn't play either. The special teams didn't play fucking good either. So there's a lot of reasons why we lost this, and not just this factor. But again, it's been such the most glaring one to me over and over again. Another pet peeve of mine looking at this overall game script going into this game was, and I've noticed it not just this game, but throughout the season. It seems that every time we get down to the red zone, I think Niner fans will know that notoriously, despite this great offense that we've had with Kyle Shanahan for years, we've always kind of struggled there. And a lot of teams do. It's really hard to score sometimes in the red zone when it's the condensed field and all the defenders are rushing down on you. But my biggest pet peeve about our red zone offense is, why is it that literally every single first and goal we run an inside, run for a yard or two with Christian McCaffrey? It's literally every time. And if I can figure that out, then every fucking defensive coordinator is going to figure that out and just know, like, hey, okay, guys, they're going to run on first and goal. We know that. So it doesn't matter if you have Christian McCaffrey, who is amazing, who has been limited to 0 rushing touchdowns this year. I believe we have no rushing touchdowns whatsoever this year. And it's because the lack of creativity when we get in there. It's just not, I'm not, never seeing it. And then because the offensive line, as alluded to, Purdy's like, oh shit, I have to run back and scramble back and then drift away, and it's incomplete, or it's a tip pass, or almost intercepted sometimes. It's just ugly, ugly looks there. So again, I don't really want to bash too much. It is a loss, so I guess I have all the free reign to sound like a negative Nancy. But again, I'm not really trying to be one. It's just those things are just things that I continue to notice that I wish we could just clean up a little bit, especially on that aspect. Some extra positives though. I mean, Christian McCaffrey, yes, he had, a fumble, and he had a ball tipped out of his hands for a pick, which looks really bad. But out of the backfield, Christian McCaffrey, I believe, is fifth or sixth in yards across the NFL. That's insane. He's a running back. He's still getting it done. It's not that it's Christian McCaffrey's problem. Yes, some bad moments on him for those turnovers, but I'm not really looking at him and like, oh, he's the problem. Uh, we need, but I'm not a fan of continuously giving the guy the football over and over and over again and spamming Christian McCaffrey because Kyle Shanahan's like, well, I guess nothing else is going to work. It's like, guys, we have other dudes. And if we're so dependent on Christian McCaffrey's to get this scheme going, or George Kittle as essentially a six offensive lineman, then it's like we got to look at the team, man, because it's like yes, these guys are great. We should be giving the ball to Christian McCaffrey as much as possible, but we also have to be able to have a resort backup plan if we get into this grindy game where we cannot run the ball and we cannot establish it. And yes, we had Brock step back and throw, but I just think with this offense so predicated on the run first oriented to set up the pass that it's not going the other way on the pendulum that we usually see, where sometimes the pass sets up the run. It's just not been fantastic, and I think today was just a myriad of like all those things under a magnifying glass for me when watching that game. Uh, but positives as well, though. I mean, like Ricky, positive. Ricky looked really good until he got hurt, re-aggravating that knee, I believe, and then had to exit the game. He was looking fantastic. He had that awesome grab right into his like hand and shoulder area. What an amazing grab, dude! Wow, Ricky is at least coming along. But as for the rest of the receivers right now, I mean, Jawan Jennings had a couple of drops. KB had an egregious drop there. Demarcus Robinson, you can tell, is getting in the swing of things. I mean, we have Sky Moore running around out there because Ricky Pearsall went down. He was a complete non-factor. I mean, Jake Tonga is still, he had some mental lapses and penalties, but outside of that, I still think he's playing pretty well. He had a touchdown again. So it's nice to see that. But it's just a kind of embarrassing loss all around and an embarrassing showcase from this offense. I wish I could say that this defense outperformed what the offense showed us, but they really didn't. Yes, Fred Warner can still go out there and make great plays and tackles and fly around the field as well as D winners. That was nice to see. But for the most part, we just really didn't get anything. And it starts up front with zero pressure in my mind from this overall D line. Now, I'm sure they actually had some pressures, of course, but we just weren't really seeing a whole lot of it. And like it seemed that no one really came through. There was some near sacks. There were some near moments where Trevor Lawrence was definitely scrambling around for sure. But yeah, and I knew this was going to happen, right? And I'm not like giving up hope, right? I'm not destroying that aspect. Um, I knew without Nick Bosa, yes, we're going to have to wait a few games and hope that someone like Huff or Michael Williams or someone across this D line can just step up and start coming in and being this solid high end number two at the very least. But now we're seeing without Nick Bosa and how much that we depend on him to generate and open up everything so that the rest of the defense can sit back and do their job. Well, we have to go back to the drawing board, guys, because no one else is getting that same presence from Russian four. We need to start thinking outside the box. We can't just not with this personnel, at least not yet into this season. At least it hasn't been shown yet. So I am willing to be reserved and patient and wait for some of these guys that are new to this team. And like obviously one's a rookie. I'm not expecting him to be an All Pro like Nick Bosa. Like, really not. But it just goes to show that, yeah, just this massive loss has just impounded and impacted this entire team. Uh, core fundamentals, core of it all. Like, if you can't get to hit the passer, and Nick Bosa was your only option, and now he's gone, like you're just it's Yeah. I don't really even know what to say. It's just crap to see. And then the secondary unfortunately was getting picked on all game. Um, some of the younger guys, Daryl Luter Jr. And Marcus Sigil, the safety, they were getting picked on all game, and they weren't wrong. The run defense that I've been hoping and seeing improve shit the absolute bed. We let Travis Etienne, yes, granted, a couple of those runs of his over 100-yard day were massive runs. But outside of those massive runs, I mean, yeah, that we kind of locked up, but just enough for ETN though. Like it just such a frustrating loss all around. It just seemed that this entire team. And then what's with Robert Salah getting into it with Liam Cohen? And I watched that video and it seemed like a bunch of nothing. I couldn't really overhear it. And I think Liam Cohen kind of started at first, but it's like, dude, we are no business. No one on this team right now after the loss that we just took. And yeah, it was close. It's not like we got egregiously embarrassed. um, but come on, guys, like, what are we doing, man? This is all around just a terrible game plan. Execution for the offense was bad. Brock Purdy played bad. Offensive line did no favors. Defense really did no favors outside of the usual suspects. I mean, oh, and you want to let's talk about special teams too, because it's always something. I wanted to I'll dive more into this, but a little hot take that I have is that over the past few weeks of this season, a lot of the teams that have run through like Shanahan coaching systems and trees and come from that kind of branch, whether Kyle Shanahan or Sean McVay or any of those type of guys in that underlying coaching tree, which is like nearly half the fucking league at this point. I've kind of noticed that like a bunch of teams that have been getting like routinely shit on with like the block field goals or like, oh, how they let up this kick return. And yes, it's probably all just, coincidence. But it almost seems because Kyle Shanahan and Sean McVay have, basically not really valued a lot about the special teams. No shit, we get run over for a punt return touchdown. No shit that we saw multiple times to, even the Packers or the Rams in multiple times where they're missing kicks or getting blocked. And it's like, again, it's one of those things where you can't is it's probably a coincidence, but for a group of coaches that come from a coaching staff that really truly don't give a shit about the special teams, am I onto something?